silence our phones.
They cheated or something. They knocked us out just like oh, hey guys, how you doing? Good, how are you? Haven't seen you in a thousand years. See you again?
Yeah. Yeah, just today. Well, that's your life?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a...
Is it HMI with that, or is it just
well, it's LED, but it replaces the Joseph 400.
Well, that's all right.
How long can you get off that battery?
40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is really cool. I know we've got a few panel LEDs.
Right.
That looks like it's got some drawing.
Well, yeah. Panel lights are nice, but when it get outside.
And it's like, they don't throw much further than right.
Yeah, well, that far.
Yeah.
Stuck right there.
Kevin, on your iPad.
Yeah, I did that until I was 18, and then my scholarship I got was like were the schools I didn't want to go to. Well, and then it's a sport that there's no future. Although I was good, I wasn't that good. Oh yeah. The ones that
You know, I was going to try because it had the, yeah, I saw that. I was wondering why they this early in the school. Yeah, it's for school. Although they had pretty good crowds outside class for 2000.
We're gonna start in like maybe 3 minutes or something.
Thank you. Yes, it looks physically like my dog crushed her. He should still have 0 earned runs too.
Wow, that's the only thing I was clearly you were going to win yesterday. I kept listening to the score. Wow. So Martinez missed twice.
Hey, Rick and Ross.
Well, yeah, it wasn't quite an error though. Like, he used it like play.
He's got a 3-minute warning.
Actually, it's probably better in the long run. Those streaks that start taking it like
Ramon's coming down here too, isn't he? He's always in the library. Oh, really?
Want to do that?
Randomly go to school.
I didn't know if it's this, but
You mean the outliers?
This looks like this will be available. Or like an avant-garde music, so it was like. At one point, the guy wasn't playing the piano; he was inside plucking strings out of musicians. And I was like, I was going to take my mother-in-law. I can kind of understand what he was doing and everything, but I go, oh, thank God my mother-in-law wasn't here for this.
I wanted to invent a pitch bend with the piano, you know, like put it on the strings.
But it was amazing what he did with an kid, but I mean, if you were expecting to hear a string quartet, you know, I saw
Yeah.
these traditional instruments and people are banging them on the wall and stuff like that. But it was very interesting. But it was not for an, you know.
Well, we're about to start this process back in a minute.
Sorry.
I don't wanna be.
You have a backpack issue, just call here.
Jeopardizing that. Yeah, you wanted to change back to my camera last time.
All I know. Yeah, we're on TVU.
Be sure to make yourself nice and small.
Sure.
Someone take these and pass them around. Yeah, okay.
Okay, it's fine.
And here's the others, they can go around. Thanks, I'll pass them around the back. Thanks. There are two? Okay, just the one. Oh, well, there's only one, or there's two, or just one?
Like two pages.
If not, two cross copies.
Is it? Oh, is it?
Okay, yeah, one.
Can I have the other one?
Okay, so, okay, sir. What's the, okay,
No charge.
Let's shove this back, it's too far back. You know what, I'm gonna need this moved because I have to use this.
You guys, she needs to.
I need to use my
the mics.
podium, so, yeah,
Put them on top?
yeah, that's fine.
You have enough room there, ma'am?
No, I don't just want to.
Come on, yell, just yell.
Whose is this to that's not connected to anything?
I was just using it as a scale.
Oh, okay.
There's Fox. Oh, I don't know how to do this. This? It's not open. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming this morning. And I want first to start out by having everyone here with me introduce themselves and spell their last names. We'll start to my right and your left.
Robert Donaldson, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney, D-O-N-A-L-D-S-O-N.
I'm First Lieutenant Michael Shaw. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Michigan State Police.
Carmen DeFranco, D-E-F-R-A-N-C-O, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney.
Jim Gonzalez, Chief Special Operations, Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, Gonzales.
Too many people in this region and across this country, too many people in this region and across this country, police brutality seems to be out of control. In my view, police brutality and police misconduct do three things. One, it erodes trust and the public's confidence in law enforcement. Two, it eradicates the confidence that has been carefully built in those communities where good work has been done to establish good police-community relationships. And three, undermines the value of the great work performed by the overwhelming majority of good police officers who do the job every day in Detroit, southeastern Michigan, and across this nation. The job of a peace officer can be dangerous, but we cannot tolerate those who abuse their authority, violate their oath, and prey on citizens rather than protecting them. We cannot turn our heads when the law enforcer becomes the lawbreaker. At the same time, this office will never press a charge against an officer or anyone else for that matter if it cannot be proven in a court of law under the appropriate evidence and no matter what is being said in the court of public opinion. And as long as I am the Wayne County prosecutor, this office will charge or deny all criminal charges based on facts and competent, admissible evidence. We must base all of our decisions based on facts, evidence, not innuendo, and truth, not rumor. We will never rush to judgment, and these cases take time to come to the appropriate conclusion. True justice demands nothing less. Before I go any further on our decisions in these two cases today, I want to thank profusely the Michigan State Police under the leadership of Colonel Christy Etchew. but I especially want to point out two officers. Tawana Powell, who's a detective sergeant with the Michigan State Police, and Michael Shaw, who you've met, who stands to my right and your left, who's a first lieutenant for the Inkster Post. Accordingly, today I'm announcing the decisions of my office in two such cases. The first has to do with the alleged victim, Andrew Jackson, involving, allegedly, Sergeant Ronald Dupuy and Police Officer Vogler. This occurred on January 12th, as you know, in the 18200 block of Evergreen in the city of Detroit. As you also no doubt know, on January the 29th, this office charged the alleged victim, Mr. Jackson, with carjacking, armed robbery, unlawfully driving away an automobile, resisting and instructing an officer, and felony firearm. During the arrest of Mr. Jackson on January the 12th, Dupuy and Vogler used physical force on Mr. Jackson, and this was all captured on cell phone video by a citizen. Michigan State Police conducted an investigation into the officer's actions during the arrest of Mr. Jackson. On February the 12th of 2015, the report of the investigation was returned over to my office. This office conducted an independent, thorough investigation on the matter, and our office also contacted Andrew Jackson through his attorney. However, it's important to note that Mr. Jackson refused to cooperate through his lawyer with this investigation. My office reviewed all the civilian video footage taken by Emma Craig, and she's the one with the cell phone video, the witness statements and interviews done by the Michigan State Police, by Ms. Craig and other civilian witnesses, police documents, radio and dispatch recordings, photographs of Mr. Jackson's injuries, statements made by Mr. Jackson, and interviews of officers who responded to the scene where Jackson was arrested. And also, it should be noted, Mr. DeFranco, to my left and your right, broke down this videotape frame by frame and studied it immensely. We all did. After a thorough and exhaustive review of all the evidence in this case, we've determined that no charges shall be issued against Sergeant Dupuy or Sergeant Vogler for their actions on January the 12th. As it pertains to Dupuy, Mr. Jackson was not handcuffed when the video captured him striking Mr. Jackson. It is clear that he was a felon attempting to flee, and when apprehended was armed with a weapon while he actively resisted the attempts to arrest and refused to surrender his right hand for cuffing. Furthermore, at no time did he ever strike Mr. Jackson with any foreign object, specifically with a gun, as a civilian witness alleges. Sergeant Dupuy does appear to have minor contact with Mr. Jackson once this arrest is complete, and although the conduct is an improper response, it does not support a criminal charge. The police department should determine an appropriate administrative response to sufficiently address the behavior of Sergeant Dupuy. The evidence also supports that Sergeant Vogler acted within the scope of his training when he struck Mr. Jackson in the thigh in an effort to gain compliance during a lawful arrest. Mr. Jackson was resisting his arrest and was being handcuffed when the conduct took place. It appears that Sergeant Vogler struck Mr. Jackson in the thigh, and this area is known as a common perennial nerve, and this is a recognized and accepted technique used by and trained by law enforcement officers to place unresisting subjects under control because it strikes a common place on the body that creates little risk of significant injury. Let me conclude by saying this about the Jackson case. Again, Mr. Jackson refused to cooperate with this investigation, which makes it harder for our office, and accordingly the conduct of these officers do not support criminal charges. Further, Sergeant Vogler's later conduct, where it appears that he slapped Jackson's head in the head area after he's arrested and handcuffed, also does not support a criminal charge. As with Dupuy, the police department should review this and determine if there is any administrative response to sufficiently address the behavior of Police Officer Vogler. The details of our investigation in this case appear in our press release today and can be accessed by the public by going to the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office website, where the entire report will appear there to be read. I want to then focus and turn to our second case, where our alleged victim is Mr. Floyd Dent. This happened on January 28th of 2015. It happened near South River Drive and Inkster Road in the city of Inkster. It's important to note that this office first heard of this case on March the 23rd of 2015, even though it occurred on January the 28th. We found out about it, as many of you did, from the news reports from WDIV reporter Kevin Dietz. At no time before that were we informed of this by the Inkster Police Department or by the attorney for Mr. Dent. It's alleged that during the arrest of Mr. Dent, during a traffic stop from Police Officer Melendez, that Melendez physically assaulted Dent, causing severe injuries that required admission to a local hospital for treatment of his injuries. On January the 30th of 2015, Mr. Dent was charged with possession of cocaine and resisting and obstructing the police. The preliminary examination was held on March the 18th of 2015 and dismissed by the Supreme Court, by the District Court Judge Sabrina Johnson, all except for the possession of cocaine charge. On March the 23rd, the day that we all found out about this, the matter was referred to the Michigan State Police, who conducted, again, an investigation of this matter. When their investigation was concluded, it was turned over to our office, and a separate and independent investigation was conducted. We reviewed police and televised video leading up to the arrest and assault of Mr. Dent, witness statements, police documents, radio and dispatch recordings, photograph of Mr. Dent's injuries, statements made by Mr. Dent in interviews, and interviews of officers who responded to the scene where Mr. Dent was arrested. As a result of our investigation and the very thorough investigation done by the Michigan State Police before ours, we have determined a few things. One, that Mr. Dent's drug charge will be dismissed in the best interest of justice. And accordingly, Mr. William Melendez is being charged by our office with the following offenses. Count 1, misconduct in office, which is a 5-year felony. Count 2, mistreatment of a prisoner, which is a 5-year felony. And the third charge is assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder, which is a 10-year felony. Any details of, oh, I'm sorry, 2 counts of assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder.
1 count of misconduct and 1 count of assault battery. That's the
Okay. Well, you can read the charges in the press release. Now, I should also say that any information about his arrest and arraignment will be provided to you at a later date. So I'll take questions at this time.
Prosecutor Worthy, Kevin Dietz, Channel 4.
Yes.
Were there any considerations of charging any other officers on the scene in Inkster, and were there any considerations of charging any officers with planting the cocaine?
As far as the officers in Inkster, well, I'll answer your question together. We investigate all of that. And again, all of our reasons for that will appear in a court in a trial if it ever happens. But yes, we looked at that, and we went with these charges as well.
I just want to clarify, Ms. Worthy, is misconduct in office and mistreatment of a prisoner, or are those the same charge?
Those are 2 separate charges.
Those are separate charges?
Yes.
Those are, there should be a colon, I'm sorry, Kim.
Okay.
It's 1 charge.
All right.
So the
There are several categories of misconduct in office, and that's the one that we charged.
Exactly.
Can you, you talked about how your office didn't become aware of this until
March 23rd.
What are your thoughts on that? This police video was out there, it was known within the department. Was the chief in the dark in Inkster?
I'm not going to share my thoughts on that.
Why not?
I'm just, it wouldn't be appropriate.
Ms. Worthy, what were your thoughts when you saw the video as a prosecutor? You say police brutality and the release here. I mean, what?
I've been doing this for long enough to know that you have to look beyond any kind of objective evidence you may have. Even though you may have videotape or text messages or anything else, you still have to do a thorough investigation before you can determine what the charges are. You may think it may be leading one way, but again, you have to look at the entire case. So it's a piece of evidence in this case.
Do you think this would be a different day if the video did not surface?
We probably wouldn't know about it.
You said it's in the best interest of justice not to charge for planting evidence. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Again, that whole issue surrounding that will come out in any kind of exam or trial in this case. I'm not going to reveal that at this time.
What does this particular case, the Melendez case, what's your message here? Because we've seen these cases across the country, as you alluded to when you first began speaking.
The message is what I said. Number one, there's 2 components. One is that we are not going to tolerate this kind of behavior. But before you can announce anything, you have to do a complete investigation. A lot of times people get upset because these take a long time to investigate, but we want to do it properly. And so, number 2, it also shows we're not going to rush to judgment, and we're not going to charge someone if they should not be charged, depending on no matter what anyone may be saying. So we're always going to go with the facts and evidence regardless of where they take us. So, again, we're not going to look the other way when a peace officer or a law enforcement officer is involved, or if a person with a lot of money is involved, or a person that has a high position involved. It doesn't matter. We go based on the facts and evidence and nothing else.
Prosecutor Worthy, could you address, isn't it the case that individual police departments under your jurisdiction have the obligation to report such incidents to the prosecutor's office?
I don't know about the obligation to report. I hope that they would. Certainly, I think everybody has an obligation to report any kind of crime that occurs. But again, I'm not going to address that at this time. All I can tell you, and I thought it was important to mention to you, that we didn't find out about it until March the 23rd, even though it happened in January.
Are you confident in the Inkster Police Department? Should the people of Inkster be confident that that is a fair?
That's not a decision for me to make or even wade into. I'm concerned about what we do here and what we have to do from now on to work and try to prove these charges in court beyond a reasonable doubt, which I think we can do.
Do you think there was an attempt to cover this up?
I'm not going to comment on that at all.
Will your case require testimony from any of the other officers on the scene or Mr. Dent? So?
Generally, when cases happen, not just these types of cases, we'd like to take testimony or get information from everybody that's present. But it'll be up to the lawyer charging this case as to how he wants to present it, who he wants to present it, and in what capacity.
Mr. Dunn's attorney talked about wanting Department of Justice charges. Do you know if the federal government's involved at all?
You have to speak with him about that. Again, he didn't tell us about this either, so.
But you haven't been in contact with anyone from the federal government about this investigation?
I'm not going to comment on that.
From your review of the video, did you instantly know something was amiss there? I ask because this happened way back on January 28th, and supposedly people looked at this video internally and decided that Officer Melendez could continue on the streets. And I just from is it obvious from the video that something was amiss?
You know, I'm not going to comment on that, nor am I here to indict the Inkster Police Department. Again, we found out about this on March the 28th. I think it's always important to explain and be transparent to the public about why this happened in January and why you found out about it in late March. And so that's why I made that statement. But again, when we look at evidence, and any piece of evidence, no matter how powerful it might eventually be, we still have to look at take the global approach to a case to determine if we can charge or not charge.
There was one thing. There was some concern by the family about Michigan State Police investigating, even though they were on the scene. What does this say about the ability for police agencies to do thorough investigation?
I think all police agencies can do police investigations thoroughly, but I think that when you have this happen with a local department, I think it's almost always best to have an independent agency look at it. I have high confidence in the Michigan State Police in looking at these types of cases.
You have the same confidence in the Inkster Police Department?
I'm not here to indict the Inkster Police Department. Again, I'm here to announce whether we're going to charge in these particular cases.
We can try.
Was there any consideration of charging even higher beyond assault with intent to do great bodily harm?
Again, we look at everything, and then we make a determination about what we can best charge in a criminal court with competent evidence. It does us little good to charge things that we don't think we can prove, and then where are we then? So we have very smart, very competent people looking at these cases who do these cases, type of cases every day. And then, along with me, we make a determination about what we'd be charged, and these are the correct charges in this case, even though I butchered the misconduct in office. I haven't looked at that in a while.
Prosecutor Worthy, have you been aware, have you known Inkster Police Chief Vicki Yost from her tenure in the Detroit Police Department, number one? And number two, were you also aware of the situation with Officer Melendez having been charged federally? That was in 2003. I believe you were prosecutor then? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm aware of that,
Yeah.
and yes, I know.
So you were aware of his background?
I'm aware of what his background is and was, and of course I know Chief Yost, but I'm not here to comment on that. I'm here to issue charges in these cases.
What convinced you to charge him? I mean, was there a smoking gun here that really sort of tipped the scale to make you make the decision?
Smoking gun is really a term of art that lay people use. We don't use it here. Again, it's like DNA, for example. That's a very powerful piece of evidence, like a videotape is, and like many other witness testimony could be a very powerful tool of evidence. But we look at everything, and we use everything that we have, and we look at everything we have before we make a determination. So I can't say that one thing stands out more than the other, although, one thing may be particularly instructive.
Did you come to the decision quickly? Was it immediately obvious, or?
Well, this happened in
was there a
January.
struggle here in your mind?
This happened in January. We went to the Michigan State Police on March the 23rd. I don't remember the exact date that they brought it to us, but it was more than a couple weeks ago. So we look at it. And again, Mr. DeFranco, Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. Donaldson spent hours and hours and hours not only reviewing all the evidence and the tape and talking about the case and then consulting with me. So it took a lot of time. These cases take a lot of time. You can't just make a decision based on what you may see on television on videotape.
Are you going to continue to stick by the Devontae Sanford conviction as as you know, 2 law schools last week filed some extraordinary documents, including a chilling affidavit from...
Well, all I will say about that is it doesn't make them right. Our prosecutors have been in court with this case, and so we will file our brief shortly and put our position in that brief.
You don't believe Vincent Smothers?
Again, we are going to file our brief in that case where our position will be very clear, as it has been many times in the past.
You're not going to consider dropping the charges against this young man's been in prison for over 8 years, and even Nolan Finley at the Detroit News wrote an editorial calling on you to let him go now.
None of you or Nolan Finley knows all the facts and evidence like we do in this case. And again, you only know what you read in the paper. We are very familiar with this case, every aspect and every nook and cranny. And again, we are going to file our brief, and in our brief, we will make clear once again about this particular case. And remember, there's already been a judicial finding as well who agreed with us.
Back to the Floyd Dent case. Can you explain why you decided to drop the possession of cocaine charges?
It's in the best interest of justice. When we looked at all the facts and circumstances and what we were charging, and after looking at everything in this case, we made a decision that is based on the best interest of justice to drop the case and then go forward with these charges.
So is he completely innocent then in this case? He did no wrongdoing?
Again, we made the decision in the best interest of justice.
So there will be no more court proceedings on that case then?
I think that's the only remaining charge. Is that correct? Yes. So there will be no more further proceedings as far as that's concerned.
Could he be charged with making a false police report?
Who?
Melendez.
Again, we charge what we think we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt, and the cleanest and the best way to proceed in this case with the 2 charges that we have issued. Again, misconduct in office, the category being mistreatment of a prisoner, and assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder.
He also testified during the preliminary examination about his version of events, Melendez did, and I just saw him on Channel 7 this morning doing an on-the-air interview claiming again that Dent told him he was going to kill him. What about perjury charges?
I was going to say, if you're alluding to perjury charges, we have charged what the facts and global evidence in this case will show.
Do you anticipate, is your investigation still ongoing? Is there any possibility of other charges against other people, or does this...
Our investigation in these 2 cases are complete. Okay. Thank you very much.
Is there any information to share about the U.S. Steel, the driver that was in custody?
I'm sorry?
The U.S. Steel plant where the woman was hit by the truck driver?
Oh, nothing that I'm going to share at this time.
Yeah, we didn't have it yet.
Yeah. Thank you.